Good evening and welcome to Clonakilty Agricultural College and our virtual live open event. My name is Keith Kennedy, the college principal here in Clonakilty. Over the course of the next hour, my colleagues will be reporting in from the enterprise we have. We also have colleagues here live in studio ready to answer any questions. So you're very welcome and we look forward to engaging with you over the course of the next hour. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's live open event coming to you from Clonakilty Agricultural College in West Cork. Tonight marks the end of a series of virtual open evenings that have been happening right across the country over the last 2 weeks, and we're delighted to have our opportunity to showcase what we do here in Clonakilty. So the college is based in an area renowned for food production, and we've got many progressive farmers and they really in the region. They really drive us on and help us inspire, train the next generation of farming people that attend the college. So Clonakilty is the longest established college in Ireland, Teagasc College. We've been educating and training students since 1905. And over the course of the next hour, we'll be going out to see some reports coming in from our people out in the field. And you'll see some of the 280 acres that this farm encompasses. And we've got a grassland research trial that is very important to us here, and you'll get to see some of the activities that go on that. So the farm really is used to complement the training and education of the students, and we have a big focus on things like grassland management, sustainability, and animal breeding. And this year, we've had over 400 students have attended the college, and they've been attending courses from level 5 right the way through to level 8. And recently, we completed courses with students on advanced certificate in dairy herd management and also dry stock management. And we also have some part-time students that have completed programs very recently, being specific purpose certificates in a couple of formats, part-time and also distance education. And we look forward to answering some questions that some of the people that are with us tonight will want to have us answer. We also are a base for students that attend the college from other centres, such as Cork Institute of Technology and the Institute of Technology in Tralee. And also this spring, we welcomed a new cohort of students that were studying an agricultural science degree in Moore Park and also UCC. So tonight is a virtual online event, and we're going to be focusing on our full-time course specifically and definitely for the start of the hour. And our closing date for that course is coming up very rapidly at the end of June, and we'd encourage you to enroll online for that. So tonight's meeting is going to be a mixture of panel discussion interspersed with some live reports in from the farm. I'd encourage you at this point to post any questions you may wish answered on our Q&A function that is at the bottom of the screen. And I will answer some questions, and I'll be able to ask my panelists here to also help answer these questions. So at this stage, I'd like to introduce the three panelists we have. We've got 23 staff in the college based in different areas. We've got farm staff, teachers and technicians and admin. But tonight we're represented by three of them. So we've got Karen O'Connell, the assistant principal in the college, and also James Daunt and Ciara O'Donovan, both college teachers. And they've been teaching across all courses this year, and they'll be able to answer any questions that you wish to pose to us. So briefly, to kick off, as I mentioned outside, my name is Keith Kennedy. I've been the principal of the Ag College for the past 3 years. Also, I've been involved in agricultural education for over 20 years. So I've a deep knowledge and understanding of what young people that are coming to Clonakilty are looking for, be it the Green Cert, be it career progression, or developing their farm and themselves really. I come from a family background myself, so that has also, I suppose, influenced my career path. And I didn't think I'd finish up in this type of role, but when I initially started, but that's the nature of education and training, and it's a continuous process that whoever will join us in September, you'll find the same thing, and you'll develop your love for agriculture. So first of all, I'll turn over to Karen just to introduce herself also.
Thanks, Keith. My name is Karen O'Connell. I'm originally from a beef farm in North Cork, now currently on a beef farm in West Cork. I've been 19 years with Teagasc, and about 13 years ago I moved to Clonakilty Agricultural College and have been here since. And for the past 3 years I've been assistant principal at the college here.
Very good. And James?
Hi, my name is James. I'm originally from a dairy farm, something I'm very passionate about. I'm the dairy teacher here in the college. I'm also a course coordinator on the advanced dairy course as well.
Very good. And Ciara?
Thanks, Keith. My name is Ciara O'Donovan. I'm from Whitegate in East Cork. I've been with Clonakilty Agricultural College for the past 2 years, and the main subjects that I focus in on are grass and animal nutrition and dairy husbandry.
Okay, so in some of the key areas we will be training our students with each year. I suppose we're probably all versed in the COVID restrictions that we've been experiencing since early March, and that's influenced the way we've been delivering our courses. And we see the way things have been developing recently, but there will be restrictions likely to continue into our next academic year in the autumn. So can I start to you, Karen? What is our plan across the various courses and how we aim to deliver and train students to the programs that they will be signing up for?
Well, Keith, I suppose the first thing to say is that we are open in September. We will be taking in a cohort of students for first year and second year for the autumn time. Applications are available online currently. We will be following the guidelines that are issued from the HSE in terms of our response to COVID-19 and any restrictions that are in place there. But we do have a plan to start our level 5 program on our first year program on the 14th of September. We will also be continuing on with our second year program from the end of August. I suppose, Keith, what we will be looking at in September is we will be moving towards a more blended learning approach to teaching the students. What we have learned in the last number of weeks since the COVID restrictions, where we had to sort of move everybody to an online platform in a very short space of time, we found that the students were able to cope with that, and we have a better understanding of how to utilize that technology ourselves. So initially, we will be planning that for first year students, that they would be on site for probably a day a week initially, and we will deliver classes remotely also. We do need to maintain our student engagement and make sure that students are getting the best learning experience that they can, and that's what our plan is going forward. We will still be planning on placement in the autumn with our first year students as well. So yes, we will be open in September. We are taking applications currently, and we will be moving to a blended learning experience for the students.
And like an important part of someone coming to an ag college is the student experience, and it's their opportunity outside of a more formal education program in secondary school. It's a different way of learning, and and they learn from each other, I suppose, during the course of the 20 odd weeks they'll be with us before they'll be going on various placements and things like that.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, Keith, and that's why it's so important to us that students come to the college when it's possible and when it is allowed for them to come to the college. And I suppose if students are coming in slightly smaller groups, it gives them the opportunity to get to know their cohorts. If there's a smaller group, it's easier for them to get to know each other and network with each other. And I suppose for students coming to Clonakilty Ag College, it's going to be new for all of them. So, it's a new experience for us to move to a blended learning situation, but it's also new for the students. So we're here to help them in any way that we can. And it's important for us that we do see them face to face on the college campus as well.
Okay, so that's a very clear message. So the main point, I suppose, for people to take away from tonight is that you should apply as normal online. And if you're looking to come to Clonakilty Agricultural College, you can go to our college website, which is at www.teagasc.ie/Clonakilty. And on that website, you'll be able to read about our course choices and pick the one that suits the avenue you want to go down. And when you get onto the various courses, you can apply online at that point. And if you have any issues with connectivity or finding the process a bit too arduous, you can always pick up the phone and contact the college directly. And we've got an excellent team that will be able to talk you through and start you off in the application process and guide you through it. And we hope to see you all here in September. So moving on, at that point, I want to talk about or show you our first report of the evening. That's going to come from one of the students that we currently had been training up to May. He's been with us for the past 2 years, and James finished his advanced certificate course last month, and he will talk to you about his experience in the college and some of the things he learned in the college and also while he was on placement.
James O'Brien from Drumleague. I'm making 90 spring calving cows and a grass-based system, mostly Holstein Friesians, a few Jersey crossbreds. I'm in partnership with the parents at home. I'm doing the level 6 advanced dairy cert, and I've got to get the grants out of it so I can develop the enterprise at home. So the key parts of the course is sustainability, and we've learned that protected urea and low emission slurry spreading gives off less emissions and replace hedgerows for increased biodiversity. Level 5, we used to do the classes in the morning, and then after around dinner time, we used to do the practical assessments in the yard. We did 8 weeks placement as well. I went to the dairy farm in West Cork and learned a good bit about cow management there. One of the key things I learned in placement is keeping record of what I do and all the veterinary products that I used, and help me hopefully in the future for the cows, especially in the board B inspections and department. The facilities in Clonakilty Agricultural College are very good. We get to go out on different farm walks every few weeks to see a different range of farming enterprises. We get to go on grass walks every week, record growth and improve our knowledge of grass. The skills we do here are very practical. We get to do grass management skills, milking skills, machinery skills and other livestock handling skills. We also done financial skills, so it helps us to improve our financial skills and make improvements at home and the farm business. So the plan when I go home is to increase the utilisation of grass and grass growth, incorporate clover into swards, breed higher EBI cows, more efficient cows, and hopefully make the place more labour efficient as well. So I highly recommend the Teagasc Level 6 Green Cert in dairy, because you get to learn the skills here and you also get to go on placement and see different farmer systems and how they do their daily work. You also meet new people at the college and you get to make friends with different people that you wouldn't have seen otherwise. My goal was to take over the family farm, and coming to Clonakilty Agricultural College was a necessary part of it to get my certs and also to learn the skills how to expand and develop the farm sustainably.
Okay, thanks James for that excellent rundown of what you did on your course. We've got some questions coming in live and I'll encourage more of them and we'll answer them in due course. But just to refer back to the video there of James Keira. So he mentioned he's been here for 2 years and was a first year and second year. What's the difference in the learning experience for the student when they come here?
Yeah, like you would have seen in the video, James carrying out a variety of practical farm tasks and skills. So the first year of the course is very practical orientated. Nearly, I suppose, half of the course is really practical based and half of it will be kind of theory based. So that's a slight difference from the second year course. It's slightly more theory based in second year, but saying that, we do bring the students out a lot more to visit a variety of different farming enterprises, progressive farmers. So slightly more in the theory, but they do get to go out and obviously they still have the practical elements, but they get to go out and visit some farmers as well. Yeah. So
they're challenged a bit more in second year on the various programs, be it the dry stock or the dairy, and we'll talk about dry stock later on, but on some of the things they have to make decisions on in second year. Yeah,
like first year would really be about kind of building up a baseline of skills in all various, like for machinery, animals, and grass. And second year then is really kind of building on those skills, but using those skills in a more management capacity and making more decisions based on the information that they have.
Mm-hmm. And moving to you, Karen, so if a student wants to study dairying as opposed to dry stock, and there are two streams that they can choose very early in the course there, what are the differences that they would experience on each program?
I suppose, Keith, we had both a dairy and a dry stock program this year for second year, and the way we ran it was we kept the students as a group so that they could learn from each other for a lot of modules that were common. Modules such as the business modules, personal development modules, nutrition, grass modules. What's different between the two courses is the dairy students would specifically do the dairy herd management module, which looks at their discussion groups and visiting different types of farms, and they would also have done the milking process technique module. For dry stock students, they did a module called beef husbandry management, which also incorporated discussion groups on various progressive farms in the locality. And the other module that they would have done that would be different to the dairy students was they did the agricultural land drainage module, which has to do with working with heavy soils and drainage.
Mm-hmm. They learned some very useful
yeah, so there was a bit of, there's some mingling between the two cohorts of students, and then they separate then for specific topics.
And James, you know, like in first year, there's a heavy emphasis on practicals. Can you give us a flavour of some of the things that the likes of James would have covered, and you know, how does it feed into a module?
Okay, so some of the practical skills that students will do is vaccinating and dosing, and they'll also do 50-hour service, 500-hour service in the tractor maintenance modules, They can do obviously grass walks too as well, and erecting permanent fencing and temporary fencing as well. They also do skills too as well, like say soil texture analysis or soil sampling. So there's a lot of practical skills that students will cover
And
in the first year.
yeah, and we have a question that came in there from someone who's watching there, and he just wants to know about he's calling it the fake cow, but it's really a cow simmer. He said to get to use that on the course. So talk to us a little bit about how this recent addition to the college has been used with students on the various courses.
Okay, so this fake cow behind me, well, it's not British or prop really, but we actually use this in the college for calving the cow skills, and it's great for presenting the calf in different ways for the students, and it's in a controlled manner too as well. So the students can do it blindfolded really in a way, or and it just shows great skills there for a student to see the different ways that calves can come out and how to manage the different challenges around it. So again, we're obviously just educating students the best possible way to be around calving skills, I suppose.
Yeah, and it gives us a huge flexibility in the course to be able to deliver some of those things, I suppose, because of the way our course is structured between being here in the college and then going on placement.
Yeah, and definitely, yeah. So like, look, our actual dairy herd calves from January all the way to March, but at least with the simulator, we can show calving skills any time of the year when needs be. And most students that would come through the college do all try the calving simulator, and it can also be used too as well for milking simulator too as well. And so it's very useful simulator indeed, definitely.
She's a very pleasant element to work with, I suppose.
A very easy animal to work with, yes, yeah. Yes, definitely. A lot easier than other cows out there, yeah.
Okay, and I suppose we'll delve into other areas of the course there, but I want to talk about progression routes and the different courses, because some people can get confused about, they talk about Green Certs, and then there's the first year and second year and the other various things in progression and so forth. But just on courses and progression, Karen, can I turn to you on that? So if we see education as being the first step, and people will choose various different courses, but what courses can they do, number one, and then how do they link in for them to build an education that they can develop over the years, and a lot of them are looking for careers really at the end of the day and develop themselves.
I suppose, Keith, like agriculture is such a fantastic career for anybody. The opportunities are huge, and the choices that students have are also equally as large. When we're looking at students coming in the door, we are always emphasizing that they are signing up for a 2-year program initially to get them their Green Cert. Now, if people want to progress beyond that, if they have 2 years completed in the agricultural college and have their level 6 qualification, they have a number of options. And for students that graduate with a level 6 qualification from Clonakilty Agricultural College, there's basically 3 options for them. And what we find with students is they're going to pick one of those 3. So either they're finished at level 6, they're happy enough, they have their Green Cert, they go home, they go into partnership with their parents, or they go traveling for a couple of years and then come home. And they're happy enough with that. They might come back to education at a later stage. For other students, they want to continue on and develop themselves as a farm manager specifically. And we find that we would encourage our students to apply for the Teagasc Professional Farm Manager's Diploma after level 6. And that route of progression allows them to progress to a level 7 diploma, which is, it's basically they do 2 years of on-farm placement training to be a farm manager.
And for people signing up to September, will there be any changes to that by the time they would reach that point in their education?
Yeah, the Professional Farm Manager's Diploma will convert into an apprenticeship from 2021 onwards. So it will still be a two-year program for the students and give them a great basis to become a really good farm manager. So back to the question on the progression, they can either finish with the level 6, apply for the Professional Farm Manager's Diploma, the level 7, or the alternate for the students from Clonakilty Ag College is that they can apply to participate in the degree, the agricultural science degree, in CIT. And where students would apply there for that is they have to apply through the CAO, and they would apply as what's called a non-standard applicant. So they go to the CAO website and they apply as a non-standard applicant for progression into second year in the agricultural degree in CIT.
And a question that commonly comes in is about the Green Cert. Do I get a Green Cert? When do I have a Green Cert? At what stage on the various programs?
Well, I suppose a Green Cert is it's a general term. It's more like an umbrella term that people use for an agricultural qualification. And the way we would explain it to students is basically your Green Cert is what qualifies you as what's called a young trained farmer. And for most courses, that's going to take you somewhere between 1.5 to 2 years to get that qualification. So you could end up with a Green Cert by going through the part-time route, by going through the distance education route, by going through the full-time route, through the college, or even through the ITs, you will also be qualified for a Green Cert in that way. A Green Cert is a general term for the qualification of a level 6 in agriculture, which qualifies you as a young trained farmer.
I think that's very clear. I'll just refer to one more question now before we move to first of our enterprise reports from the farm. Question from a person, he's asking, I want to do the dairy herd management course next year, but it says on your website you have to be 17 in January. I'll be 17 in March, so I think that's March of 2021. So there is a very short answer to that.
There is a very short answer, and currently the rule is that you must be 17 by the end of the year of your first year. So by 31st of December, you would need to be 17 by then on.
So if you're still 16 on the 1st of January, unfortunately, it's not a possibility this year.
But next year.
But next year is
We're
fine.
still here next year.
Yeah, we're still here next year, and you know and we would encourage people to go through secondary education fully and engage with that, because it's a useful piece of paper. We've seen the way you know the people that were trying to do their Leaving Cert this year, they really wanted that part of their education completed. So you know, 16 unfortunately is too young, and you know, with 17 next year, no problem. Moving on then to the first of our reports there, and we'll look at the first of our enterprise reports that James kindly recorded there earlier. So the dairy unit is both a research and an educational tool that we would use every day, and it's the backbone of our dairy course that we've been running for over 20 years, and there's been previous versions of that went back all the way back to the 70s. But James will talk to you about you know, the role that the dairy herd plays in our training programs.
Hello, my name is James Daunt. I'm the dairy teacher here in Clonakilty Agricultural College. In Clonakilty, we have 85 hectares dedicated to dairy enterprise. We currently milk 199 spring calving cows, a mix of Friesian and Jersey Cross. In 2019, we saw 460 kgs of milk solids per cow. We use weekly updates in the dairy enterprise and classes, and this forms a great basis for discussion in class on factors affecting milk output, grazing decisions. For full-time students that chose to study dairy, they are involved in farm activities for 4 to 6 weeks to prepare for placement with host farmers. Students have the opportunity to practice and perfect their milking skills under supervision. There are also weekly practicals where students will be on the yard learning how to select breeding stock as the college herds in the top 10% of herds in Ireland for EBI. Students are in the college during the calving season. This spring we had 180 calves born in the first 6 weeks, as the college has a Grassland research trial, and last year we grew 15 tonnes of dry matter per hectare. We take students out for weekly grass walks where they learn how to manage a grassland farm, and they can benchmark their figures against the research. Also on a weekly basis, we bring the students to progressive dairy farms in the region as part of their discussion group, where topics like farm labour, herd health and sustainability will be covered. As I mentioned earlier, we had a research trial looking at the milk production for 120 cows grazing grass with and without clover. Our 12-week breeding season started on the 27th of April with 4 weeks of dairy AI. The breeding season saw over 90% of the cows submitted in 21 days. This will provide us with plenty of calves for student training next spring.
Thank you. So James, we see the cow simulator behind you, but how are the real cows faring right now at the moment?
Okay, thanks Keith. So the real cows at the moment are producing 22 kgs of milk per day, and they're doing 1.8 kgs of milk solids at the moment as well. We started the breeding season on the 27th of April this year. We're in week 8 at the moment. Results we got back was in the first 3 weeks, 90% of the cows were submitted in the first 21 days. For the heifers, we had 100% of heifers submitted in the first 11 days. 90% of heifers were AI'd with sex semen. And for the cows then as well, 60 cows were AI'd with sex semen, either Jersey and some Friesian straws too as well.
Yeah, and we've been looking enviously at farms about 10 miles away getting an inch of rain, and up the country, there's been some heavy downpours, but Clonakilty for some reason is remarkably dry. What are we doing to cope with that in the last number of weeks?
Okay, so yeah, unfortunately we haven't got much rain down here.
How much are we after getting in the last number of weeks?
Since the start of June, we've got 9 millimeters of rain, so not much at all.
No.
So what we actually do every Monday is a grass walk is done, and then we see how much grass is out there, and from the results and demand, we obviously make management decisions every week. So at the moment, cows are on 3 kgs of ration, and there's a group of cows on trial on 3 kgs of silage as well too, and the rest of the diet then is grass. So that's how we're getting around it at the moment.
And each of those groups have to be matched up so that we can get comparative analysis of those animals at the end of the trial. So they're not all treated exactly the same. We have to keep them all on track.
Exactly, yeah. So we have a trial going on here at the moment in the college, so we have to keep the trials exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
So if one cow or one group of animals gets 3 kgs of silage, the other group that's been compared against them has to get 3 kgs of silage too as well to keep results fair.
Yeah. Okay, and you mentioned in the piece of video that the cow breeds and the trial, and it's always a topic for debate when people come in. And the cow we have behind us she's only got 2 colours, black and white, but we have a variety of animals on the farm here. So what's the purpose of that?
Okay, so the purpose is we're doing a breed comparison, I suppose. We're using Friesians, so black and white Friesians, Jersey crossbreds from Friesian as well, and three-way crossbreds.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at comparisons really there and that. The old research that was done was looking at breed comparison and also looking at grass-only diets versus grass clover diets too as well, in diploid and tetraploid. And those results actually come in, and those results were on a national paper there last week. The results we have ongoing at the moment now, a new trial, where we're looking at grass only at 150 and 250 kgs of nitrogen per hectare, and grass clover with 150 and 250 kgs of nitrogen per hectare as well.
And that leads me into the next area to talk about. So we've a new government possibly coming down the road, and there's the team of sustainability has been around, but it'll be under renewed focus now going forward. So our work that we do here with the dairy cows is going to feed into some of the recommendations and some of the help that farmers will be able to bring home, and the students when they're here they get to see that firsthand. But can you talk to us about some of the sustainability aspects of the trial and how that will feed into the way the industry will be developing in the next number of years?
Of course. So we've been at the forefront, Clonakilty and Moorpark, in clover research. And from the trials we actually have seen, we've seen great results, obviously, that you can spread less fertilizer. You're getting nitrogen fixation from the clover, so obviously it's very good for sustainability there. We also have extended our grazing season, so we all know that grass is the cheapest feed too as well, so again, that's great for sustainability. Our EBI, we have a high genetic card here, it's in the top 10% in the country. Our EBI is €162, so again, very good for sustainability too as well. Like I said earlier, any Jersey seam that we are using, it's all sexed as well too. So we're looking at the issues there, obviously, bull calf and so forth. And the other thing too as well is we're looking at protected urea as well, and we're looking at how to spread slurry through low emission slurry.
Yeah, we are in a derogation here, so we've had to focus on that with a while. So, and the students, how do the students get to see that in the flesh when they're out on practicals or doing skills?
Yeah, so again, information is brought into students in the classroom too as well for theory. Any information too as well is brought to them through obviously practicals as well. Students go out on a weekly grass walk as well, so they're updated on what's happening on the farm too as well. So any ongoing issues the students know about really, and they can learn from it.
And turning to you, Ciara, there, just like grassland management then is a big focus, and we're looking to maximise the amount of tonnage that is consumed by the cows. But how is the grassland management dealt with on the dairy farm, and how does that help us when we're training students?
Yeah, there is a grass walk done at least once a week, if not twice a week, during very strong grass growth periods. And it's such a fantastic asset to have in the college, because you have a real farm right next to the classroom, which is a great point of discussion in my classes where I teach grass production and grass management. You can use it as a talking point if you're trying to teach them about, spring grass management, autumn grass management, etc. So you have real life, working example farm to benchmark off and to work with.
Very good.
Yeah.
One final question before we move to the next report from the beef side there. So if someone is on the second year course and they choose to do dairy herd management, like, are there any industry recognized modules that they would do as a part of the overall course that would stand to them separately if they were talking to a farmer or to a company?
Yeah, so the first one they'll cover in the certificate in agriculture, the level 5, is the safe use of pesticides, which is very useful obviously when it comes to your own pesticide number.
Mm-hmm.
In the advanced dairy course, they will cover milking process technique. In that module, they will learn about best practice in milking. So it's a very interesting module when it comes to it. Students will obviously milk here in the college too as well, and they'll be shown best practice. And then, so it's
very good. Okay, so thanks, James. I'd like to again remind people to put their questions to the panel by the Q&A function at the bottom of the screen. So our next enterprise report is going to come from the dry stack unit, and it's a mixed unit between cattle and sheep. But first of all, we look at the beef side. So Ciara was out earlier, and she will talk to you there about the work that we do on the different systems that's there.
Hello, my name is Ciara O'Donovan. I'm a teacher here in Clonakilty Ag College, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the beef production systems we have here. The dry stock unit is made up of nearly 30 hectares. Students across all our courses would be involved with the cattle and cows in the beef unit on a weekly basis as part of their preparation for placement and practicing the skills elements in their modules such as beef husbandry. It's an excellent opportunity for students who may not be from a farming background or used to working with beef cattle. Gives them a real opportunity to get hands-on experience. So give them a chance to improve their confidence, but also their competency in skills such as herding, healthcare, breed identification, conformation, and fat scoring, etc. Developing a good eye as a stock person is very important. Currently we have 24 spring calving suckler cows. We have a mixture of breeds including Simmental, Limousin, Angus and Charolais cross cows. We keep some heifers as replacements every year, and the rest are reared on a grass-based diet and finished out of the shed about 24 months. Last year we added a dairy calf to beef enterprise to the beef unit. Cows were selected from the dairy herd and were intentionally bred to beef sires such as Hereford, Angus, Limousin and Belgian Blue. And after weaning, those calves are brought over to the dry stock grazing platform, and in their second year they're grazed together alongside the yearlings from the suckler herd. We use AI to breed cows. This year we've chosen a number of 5-star bulls including Belgian Blue, Simmental, Sailor and Limousin. We're using a teaser bull this year fitted with a heat detection device to assist with IDing cows with a standing heat. So all in all, this really helps to equip the students for their future career in farming in terms of the practical elements of the course.
Thanks. So Ciara, you mentioned there the breeding of the suckler herd. How's that been going to date? We've been breeding now just over a month.
Yeah, it's been going fairly well, and by tomorrow we'll have all the cows and the replacement heifer served. We have 3 more, I think, to be served to fixed time AI tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. And repeats seem to be very low at the moment. Like they all seem to be holding.
Yeah, I suppose the weather has been good. We've had generally a lot of easy calving, so the fertility conception to first service has been relatively good, which is great. And we have a vasectomized stock bull, as you saw in the video there, keeping an eye on out for any repeats, so we can pick them up really quick.
We've trained technicians that can, they've been able to do pre-breeding checks and pick up, these problem cows very early in the the season. And you were talking about the suckler herd, and we have the other system that you referred to there. So can you talk to us a bit more about the other beef system we've had in the farm? We've had in the past, and then we left it go for a while, and it's come back in there in the last number of years.
Yeah, so last year I suppose we brought in a dairy calf to beef system, in addition to the suckler to finished beef, that system that is in place already. I guess with the increase in the number of dairy cows in Ireland, this system, I suppose, is becoming more important. So we thought it was really important to showcase that to the students. It's really great to have that livestock on the farm. If you had to have a discussion with the students about dairy calf beef systems, we can go out to the field, have a look at the cattle, see how they're going. So it's really important to have that that there. This year, so last year we had mainly kind of Frisian type breeds in the dairy calf to beef coming through. And with, as James was saying earlier, talking about the use of more sex semen on the dairy cows, we've been able to use a lot more beef sires for that purpose. So we've been able to bring in a little bit more continental type of breeding, such as Limousin, Belgian Blue, Simmental, and Flare into that mix, so we could use those calves in our dairy calf to beef system for this year.
And that's been very important. So the breeding decisions were made in 2018. We were using some of those animals in 2019, and some of them were Friesians. But more recently, you know, the focus on the sex semen on Jersey bulls has opened avenues for us to add value to the offspring of the dairy stock. Yeah,
and it'd be nice for the students to see that through. When they're here with us for 2 years, they can see the progression through from the wean calf, dairy calf, to maybe the finished animal.
Okay, and tying the beef enterprise back into the education program there. So the students, we try to get them out on the farm in groups on a weekly basis outside of practical. So what kind of activities would they be getting on with there?
Yeah, so all our students will be getting hands-on experience with the beef unit, the stock and the beef unit we have here. And the first year, they'll be getting experience with the calves, all around kind of care of the newborn calf, tagging and registration, maybe vaccinating, pour-ons, dosing, selecting cows for breeding, selecting cows for culling, body condition scoring of cows. That'd be a lot of what the first years will be doing, and they could get involved in kind of the day-to-day runnings in their placement preparation afternoons. So that's a really nice asset to have, and it really adds to their learning. Then in second year, they'll be using maybe the information on the ICBF side in the beef unit for their applied livestock breeding module. So it's a really great to see the cows on the ground and actually have a look at their data, their Eurostars on paper as well.
Yeah, and we take young people in from all walks of life. You know, there's people that will be coming from farms and without farms. And a common question would be, do I need level of ability before I even start to be able to work with livestock or machinery? Or how do we deal with students that might be coming from farms directly?
Yeah, we cater for all student abilities, so there's no problem at all.
And like sucklers are renowned for, you know, being big, strong animals. Like, what kind of facilities do we have? Because people they can be young or old, men or women. What facilities can we showcase that would allow people to manage an enterprise like that?
Yeah,
safely?
That's a great point, because obviously health and safety is a massive issue in agriculture, and we try to showcase like the safe working methods and teach students the safest way of working. And they're big animals, they can, you know, they're much bigger and stronger than you and I. So we have a lot of systems in place that allow us to work with those cattle in a safe manner, such as we've the cattle handling facilities of a head scoop for dosing larger animals, anti-backing gates, kind of a good, strong, forcing gates in the crush, and a catwalk, so you can have a good access to the animals when you're handling them while maintaining, you know, your safe distance.
Very good. Okay, before we move on to our next video from the farm, where we look at the sheep enterprise, there's a question that's come in there. Can I do my placement on the farm? I'll direct that to you, Karen. Can I do my placement on the college farm? So they've seen enough on the video that they want to come here now.
Mad to come here. Excellent, sign up. There is often opportunity for students to do placement on the college farm, absolutely, because there's so much going on the college farm in terms of the research and the regular day-to-day running of the farm. Every year we would have 1 or 2 students on placement on the college farm.
We would normally take them in from the higher education courses, like the CIT or UCD or so forth. But like our full-time students, we've got such a large host farmer base that, you know, we would encourage them to go down that route.
We have excellent host farmers, and we have plenty of host farmers that willingly take students on placement as well. And we're very grateful to the host farmers for their help in the education of these students, absolutely. There's a variety of types of farms that students can do their placement on. And generally we find with our agricultural students, they like to kind of be on a host farm that isn't too far from their own farm, because a lot of them are heavily invested at home as well. So there is a lot of choice, I suppose, for students in terms of their placement.
And like there's over 200 farms in County Cork alone that are signed up, so we have access to 20,000 to 30,000 cows, you know, that we can put these students on right across the country, and if they're coming from further afield, they can go down there, going down that route. So, and in terms of, say, a student that might be quite nervous, how do we approach that, when it comes to a placement and selecting a farm for them?
Yeah, well, I suppose we have a placement officer in the college, and we generally get a fair handle on students' abilities and capabilities and nervousness and issues like that at an early stage. I suppose we're lucky that we don't have massive numbers of students coming in first year, that we can get to know the students very quickly. And we also implement a mentoring system where each of us, teachers and yourself and myself, would be allocated a number of students that we sort of take under our wing and make sure that they are being supported in their time here in the college. So our placement officer is very good at matching particular farms with students that may have additional needs or something along those lines, and he puts a lot of work into doing that. So we try to accommodate students as much as we can, and generally we're fairly successul at that.
Yeah, so it's a part of the course they really enjoy.
Oh, they love it,
and they get rewarded with it, and they build up a friendship and a network, with these farmers, that they, it doesn't end on the day they have to come back to the college.
No, it's funny because a lot of them, like when they finish their placement, they're still with the farmer after that. They have such a good experience.
Okay, very good. So at this point, we'll move on to our last report from the college unit, and that's coming from the sheep enterprise, where one of our college teachers, David, will talk to you about the management and the scale that we have there.
Hi, my name is David Hallisey, and I'm a teacher here at Clonakilty Agricultural College. I'm going to talk to you about the sheep enterprise currently on the farm. We operate a mixed grazing system here on the dry stack unit. This allows us to maximise grass utilisation while also achieving good animal performance on the unit. The breeds of ewes on the farm are mainly mule type ewes. This is a cross between a blue-faced Leicester ram and a black-faced mountain ewe. This year on the farm, 52 ewes lamb down, with 96 lambs at foot currently. All ewes on the farm are synchronised for breeding. This involves using sponges and hormones known as PMSG to bring the ewes and estrus together. This allows us to lamb down the ewes over a compact period and allows students the opportunity to have hands-on experience on lambing while they are in the college. The ram to ewe ratio of 1:9 was used. Texel, Charlie and Suffolk rams were used to breed the ewes. Ewes were scanned 100 days post-mating with a scanning rate of 1.73 lambs per ewe put to the ram. Lambing began on the farm on the 18th of February, with 90% of ewes lambing in the first week. All lambs on the farm are finished off grass in July, August and September, with last year's lambs achieving an average carcass weight of 18.7 kilos. Students get involved with the sheep flock in aspects such as dosing, vaccinating, hoof pairing, preparation for the breeding season and assisting at lambing.
Okay, so lots of happy sheep and lambs there, Ciara. So has there been any big events for the lambs this week?
Yeah, we've weaned the lambs this week, about 16 weeks of age, and we just sent the first few off we're finished, and generally our system, we like to finish the lambs off grass.
Mm-hmm. And the lambs were weighed there at weaning, they were averaging about 35 kilos, so it was time for some of them to leave us.
Yeah, and especially when grass on a lot of farms, sheep farms around the country are running tight, it was an option by some farmers to try and draft them out maybe a little bit on the lighter side, but even to wean them slightly earlier just to reduce demand on the grass, the grazing platform.
And the sheep now the mothers are pleasantly grazing out very bare cover.
Mums are on holidays now, they're grazing out the paddocks and they're happy out.
Yeah, and from an education point of view, I suppose like the sheep in the college, how are we going to incorporate that into the programme this coming September? Yeah,
so if we're going to offer a sheep husbandry module to our first years this coming September, so we can incorporate that sheep enterprise into the first year course.
And that's an elective. So how does an elective work as a part of the overall complement of modules someone will select?
Yeah, so when students come in, they have a couple of options in terms of some of the bigger modules that they get to choose from. So generally, they could choose between, say, sheep, beef and dairy husbandry modules.
And there's some cross...
Yeah, there would be a little bit of
crossover in terms of skills that that you don't miss out by picking one over the other.
There sure is a bit of a crossover between certain kind of key skills, yeah.
And how would we just come back to lambs? How would lambs finish on the unit? You mentioned there.
Yeah, they're being finished off grass, and we find that this works well. We try and kind of offer the lambs good quality grass, and I suppose it's a cheap way or to try and minimise our costs of production. We try and finish the lambs off grass as much as we can.
And we talked earlier about grassland management is very important on the dairy side of the house from a research point of view, especially. how do we manage grassland on the dry stock side, and are there learnings there that we share with students along the way?
Yeah, certainly, like even on the dairy side, grassland management is very important, but equally as much on the beef side. I'm the enterprise kind of leader on the beef unit, so normally in non-COVID times I'll be doing a walk at least once a week with, we use a rising plate meter to measure the grass, and it's a really nice education tool as well that we have. We can show the students different ways of measuring grass, and we can show the results of from the grass growth rates and demand on the dry stock unit, how that's slightly different from it would be, say, on the dairy production side. And as I mentioned there with the plate meter, we use different methods for grass measuring, like the quadrant and shears, the weighing the grass, and eyeballing as well.
And that informs us on decisions. So they're just like at the moment, how many days ahead, or what are some of the key figures we
Yeah, so pretty tight at the moment. We've had very little rain, as James said earlier. 9 mils of rain in the month of June is very low, so we're only running about 12 days ahead at the moment. It's kind of we're trying to maintain our grass average farm cover where it is. We don't want it to go kind of any lower. So grass walking, getting out there, walking a farm at least once a week is so important to make informed decisions.
Exactly.
That's a big part of second year, making those informed decisions.
Yeah. And students will walk out of here with those types of skills that in their back pocket, and they can bring it home and use it right away through their career. And
absolutely, yeah.
And when they come back in talking to advisors in the advisory service, they understand the things that need to be done. Okay, some more questions coming in by our Q&A function there, and some are being answered directly, but I'll take some of them there now. And we'll open up the discussion before we talk about some of the part-time and distance options that people avail of here, and there might be some questions on the CIT course. But so first of all, just on do I still get qualified? This is a question coming in on the Q&A. Do I still get qualified for grants if I do the level 7 CIT course?
Yeah, I'll answer that, Keith. Yes, you do, is the short answer. The 3-year CIT course is a level 7 qualification, which will cover you for your grants, absolutely.
Okay, and then there's a couple of questions there on the dairy side there for dairy students, so I'll direct it to you, James. In terms of dairy students, the person asking, do they get involved in the management of the herd?
Yes, they do. All the students will be milking on the farm for 1 week basis. Again, they're kept up to date the whole time, what is going on the farm too as well. Milk results, data is brought into the classroom, and again, like I said earlier, we repeat it to at practicals too as well. Yes,
we have over 200 cows, there's 120 on the trial, so there's a reservoir of cows, over 80 that calve down, that would be, we call them the general herd, that students have access to, and they're involved in the management of them.
Yeah, so we do have, as you said earlier, we've got 80 general cows, we've 120 cows in on a trial then, but yes, students do get involved in the management, yeah. And
a follow-up question then on the dairy course and the level 6 there. What kind of jobs can I get? The person's asking if they complete the level 6.
Okay, so a lot of students...
Sorry, which is the 2-year program.
Okay, so yeah, the 2-year program, the advanced dairy course. So a lot of students will go on, they might start farming at home themselves, in their own name, they might become herd managers. Obviously, we'll cover progression routes too as well, that they could go on to other courses like the professional diploma, which is level 7. After doing that advanced course too as well, they could go into CIT second year if they wish. But some of our students will go into shared farming or partnerships too as well. So there's a massive avenue of options out there for young farmers.
Yeah, and there's a big demand in the industry for skilled people to come in, not as basic operatives, but to come in with the skills that they would have at the level 6 level to make decisions and assist that farmer in running the farm. And kind of a lead on question there in terms of when someone's on at the second year. At the first year level, Karen, people will do year 1 and year 2. Are they distinct, or do they get a certificate after year 1?
Yes, Keith, they do. After year 1, they'll get a level 5 certificate in agriculture. In order to be able to progress into second year for your advanced cert, the level 6, you need to pass the level 5 part first. So you have to get the 120 credits at level 5 before you can progress on into the level 6 part. So after 2 years in Clonakilty Agricultural College, your successful student will end up with 2 separate certificates, the level 5 and then the level 6.
The level 5 allows them, the first year certificate allows them to progress into different avenues that they may wish to pursue. So we do dairy, herd management, dry stack. If they're looking at other options, what can they do?
Yeah, I suppose we've been delivering the dairy herd management and the dry stock herd management at level 6. If students have an interest in some other area, maybe they're more interested in tillage or they might be more interested in machinery, they can apply to one of the other colleges for the second year. Typically across the Teagasc colleges and the agricultural colleges in the country, level 5 is generally the same across the colleges. So there may be a slight variation in modules delivered, but it's all a certificate in agriculture. And then if there are students, and we have had students in the past that may have maybe more machinery minded, and they may choose to go to another agricultural college for second year.
In terms of machinery, we've made some changes to our machinery stock in the last 12 months. Can you talk to us about some of them, and also like what types of modules will someone do while they're on our various courses?
Yeah, I suppose we've invested a lot in machinery in the last number of months. There are 6 new tractors in the yard for students to learn skills on, of varying sizes, because we do appreciate that some students come from farmers with larger or smaller tractors, so we need to accommodate students as much as possible. In first year, the machinery work that students do, a lot of it actually comes under the farm safety module. So that's a mandatory module. Everybody has to do it, and we always start with that module before placement. And machinery type of activities that students would do in that farm safety module would include things like driving the tractor, reversing the tractor, using the 3-point linkage, using the loader, and those types of operations. What I would say, Keith, for students applying to the college for level 5, we would like them to have started the process of getting their driver's license. And I know we had a question earlier from somebody who was maybe 16 years of age, and what I might just say to him is get working on that so that he's ready to go when it's time to come to the ag college. So like the other types of machinery work that students do in first year, we do a module such as the chemical fertilizer application, where they're using fertilizer spreaders. We do the organic manure handling, which is slurry spreading. We also do a mechanical pesticide application, which is using a boom sprayer. And we also do a basic tractor maintenance module. Now, it wouldn't cover you to be a mechanic, but it would train you to be able to do a general service on your tractor and be able to wire the plugs and that sort of thing on the tractor. So there's actually quite a lot of machinery work that's covered in first year with the students.
And the boom sprayer or the mechanical pesticide application module, it stands to them as well, because they can apply for their certificate of that separately. Just I'm mindful of the sign that's behind you and also the time there. So there's a sign that says access, and we were talking about people that come in various levels of ability, and they've had assistance at secondary school level and probably previously. How do we work with those students and they all achieve successful outcomes, the people that have come here, but how does that process work?
Okay, so I suppose the first step for the Access program is that we need to identify students that may require additional supports whilst they're here in the college. So when you're applying this year for your level 5 program and you're doing it online, teagasc.ie, there will be a number of questions which will ask if you have required learner support in the past, and another question then on maybe a little bit more detail on that. If you have a report that has been conducted in the last number of years, you may submit that then as well. We have an access officer in place in the college who coordinates the support of those students, and also we have our mentoring process here where we deal with students one-on-one. If students are coming to the college and they may have had a reader or a scribe in secondary school, we will provide that during the assessment time as well, and we can also allow a little bit extra time for assessments if we need it. Now, if students need a bit more support in terms of some sort of electronic device, there is funding there to some extent for that as well. But we do provide the reading support and the scribe support during the assessments for students.
I suppose one of the key features of Clonakilty compared to some of the other colleges is, we've a very intimate college, and we know every student by name after a week or two, and the mentoring system has worked very well over the last number of years. Everyone's an individual. We help them along the way, and they're very quickly picked up if they're not, if they're a bit shy and they're not forthcoming. We can provide those supports to them along the way. And
I suppose we have a basic open door policy in the college here. We are all available to the students, and especially in the last couple of weeks there during the restrictions, we've had an awful lot of communication from students at all hours of the day and night, looking for support in some element of their course. So yeah, we do have a program there to support students.
Okay, one question before we move on to the part-time and distance there. In terms of a maintenance grant, it's something that people will ask from time to time.
There is a maintenance grant that is available to students, and it's a Teagasc maintenance grant, and they can apply for that once they've accepted their course.
Mm-hmm. And one question there, just coming in there, if a student had an SNA in the secondary school setting, how would that be dealt with in Clonakilty? How do we approach that? So we can talk to the individual and work with some of the agencies that are in the community that can assist them in that route. And people of varying abilities, because it's such a practically based course, they find something they excel in, and we can assist them along the way getting their certificate.
Yeah, I suppose, Keith, we would look at everybody on an individual basis and what supports are needed there. We have had students in the past that did come along with helpers with them during their time that they were here. So we would look at individual cases in that situation, yeah.
Right. Okay, so mindful of time there, and just on some of the other courses briefly there. If someone who doesn't have a Leaving Cert, some general questions that come in from time to time. I don't have a Leaving Cert, what options have I got?
Okay, so if you don't have a Leaving Cert, you still have the option to apply into our full-time level 5 program. Okay, not having Leaving Cert does not preclude you from that program. It doesn't exclude you from that. If you're a little bit older, if maybe you're over 23, you may apply for what's called a part-time education option. And that is delivered typically over the course of a day and a half, a week, over an extended period of time. And that program is designed for people who typically are working away at home and tend to be more outside, more outdoors. They may not have done their Leaving Cert, or it might have been a while since they left school. So the part-time option is the option that student is looking for, or the option to come directly into the college in September is also available to them.
And James, of course, we are advertising at the moment, and we're taking on applications, the distance education version of the Green Cert, so the level 5 that leads through to a specific purpose certificate. How do we engage with students on that course? And that course will be starting in September, and we'll be engaging with people on Fridays, spread out over a long period of time. It's a blended course like the other ones that we mentioned earlier.
Okay, so yeah, the distance education course, students would typically come in 1 day a month. Like you said, it'd be on a Friday. And we're still taking applications, obviously, until September as well. And
the key thing, what's the key requirement there in order to be eligible to join the course?
Okay, so the key requirement with distance education is they have to be over 23, and they have to have a level 6 major award too as well.
So the major award is the key thing. So that could be an apprenticeship at level 6. That's be a major award at level 6 or higher. So people with PAS or ordinary degrees, honours degrees, PhDs, masters, the gambit from 6 up to 10 is the entry requirement for that course. And the certificate to get at the end of it, then it's the Green Cert for effectively, and that's what they would be aiming for.
It's the Green Cert, but the actual cert isn't green. But it's a specific purpose award, and it will cover, when it comes to your taxes, it'll cover your stamp duty, your capital gains tax, your capital acquisitions tax. Again, I suppose for those people who are thinking of applying, I suppose sit down first with your accountant or advisor too as well and see how this will apply to you. But again, definitely if you have questions, ring us here in the college too as well, and we can take your questions too as well.
Yeah, and the type of person that joins normally has employment and they've pressure, so the amount of contact is far reduced, but they will be attending Clonakilty.
Yeah, so when they're here in Clonakilty, they're normally doing exams, or they're doing actually being demonstrated skills too, or they're actually practicing skills in the farm as well too. It's blended learning, so they are doing obviously a lot of learning themselves, whether that's online through Moodle or assessments that are sent out or whatever, or given some in the college too as well. So again, when they are here in the college, it's busy and it's all hands on deck and trying to get that work done.
Okay, very good. And one final question there in terms of facilities in the college there. So just explain some of the different things we've got down the yard that students can train in.
Well, I suppose we have a 20-unit parlour that we've had for quite a while in the college. It is fully automated. We have automatic feeding of the calves. We have a number of calf units. We have machinery. We have a lot of machinery sheds and a lot of new equipment there. We have a lovely beef handling unit and a new sheep handling unit. We also have various different types of labs. We have a particular lab for our bovine dystopia simulator, which gets quite a lot of use. We have a grass lab, and we're currently actually working on a new lab for fencing skills that we'll be able to do inside. We also have a number of different classrooms and lecture theatres, and we have 3 computer suites on campus as well.
Excellent. So I'd just like to close with thanking Karen, Ciara and James. We got through a lot during the last hour, and we hope you got a flavour of some of the opportunity you can have when you come here and some of the areas that we'd like to focus on and educate you on. As with all the virtual events that have been taking place over the last 2 weeks, this event has been recorded and will be available on Teagasc's YouTube channel, and also we'll have a link posted on our webpage. If any questions haven't been answered, we will post the answers on our website in the next couple of days. And if there's anything has been covered, you're always free to contact us directly at the college, clonakilty.college@teagasc.ie, or go onto the college website and you'll see the staff tab and you can contact anyone. So I'd like to remind you that this has been recorded and it can be watched on anyone's tablet or phone between now and September, and make sure you get your applications into us. So without further ado, I'd like to thank everyone for contributing tonight, and safe home.